Hello everyone and welcome to our postgraduate information session all about our subject area of sustainable development here at the School of Social and Environmental Sustainability at the University of Glasgow. My name is Amy. I am delighted to be here today and welcome you all to this session. I am joined with Dr. Alistair Hunter, who is our subject lead for sustainable development within the school, and he's going to be telling you all sorts more about our research, our learning and our teaching in this subject area within the school. Alistair, thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah, looking forward to it.
No, of course. I'm going to just give you the floor, let you take it away and tell us all much more about sustainable development at the University of Glasgow.
Thanks, Amy. Yes, so I'm the head of subject for sustainable development here at the University of Glasgow, and I'm here just to talk you through the two postgraduate programs that we offer at our Dumfries campus. So just to move on to the next slide. Yes, so we're based in Dumfries. That's approximately 75 miles south of Glasgow. We're in a beautiful part of the world. Our campus is situated in rolling countryside, parkland campus. We have wonderful views out across the Solway estuary over to the hills beyond. And it's really a perfect location for the types of teaching and research that we do in the School of Social and Environmental Sustainability. So sustainability is at the heart of the learning and teaching and research that we do. We have staff and students from across the UK, but also very international. So students from more than 40 countries worldwide. You see in the background there our teaching garden, and that's part of the living laboratory that we have surrounding our campus, but also in the vicinity of Dumfries. There are lots of fantastic field sites for our students, especially in environmental sciences, but also for our other subject areas as well. One of the things that is an asset at our school is the smaller class sizes. So typically you might be in a class of 10 or 15 students, and that really allows you to, I guess, first of all, connect well with your lecturers, but also connect with your peers, with your fellow students. It's much easier to ask a question for clarification, or to have a really you know involved debate in that kind of closer knit classroom environment. So that's really a positive for us. Just about Dumfries itself, it's a smaller town in, as I say, a more rural setting, a population of around 40,000, which provides, certainly all the amenities that you need. There's good accommodation options both within the town, but also closer to the campus. We have facilities both for undergraduate and postgraduate students. We have a student hub and a specific postgraduate hub. And that's new facilities that we brought in recent times. We have gym membership, which is free for our students, and sports facilities on the campus itself. In terms of library access, you've got, in a sense, the best of both worlds. You have access to the library that we have on campus, which we share with another university. So you have access to the other universities' holdings. You also have access to University of Glasgow's holdings, both in Dumfries, but also at the main campus. A lot of our holdings are electronic now. So, digital access is very straightforward, but we also, if you do require books, print books, we have regular services which bring those books to our Dumfries campus from Glasgow if you need them, but that's less common these days. In terms of, I guess, the student body and student engagement, we have a student union, the GUDU, which stands for Glasgow University Dumfries Union. So that's a union specific to our campus for University of Glasgow students, and that is a fairly recent initiative, but it's going from strength to strength, and that's a focal point for student activity, extracurricular activity. Dumfries is also well placed in terms of transport links. We are only really half an hour away from Carlisle train station, which is one of the main train stations on the West Coast main line to London. So you can get to London from Carlisle in about 3.5 hours. In terms of that connectivity, also north to Glasgow, Edinburgh, pretty rapid transport connections, either from Dumfries or from Lockerbie. So certainly well connected transport-wise. In terms of the subject areas that we have 4 subject areas in the School of Social and Environmental Sustainability. So environment, education, tourism, and then my subject area of sustainable development. So that's what I'm going to be talking about now in terms of the postgraduate courses that we offer. Just to give you some insights into our interdisciplinary team, who are teaching on these postgraduate programs or are conducting research in areas connected with them. So on the left-hand side of the slide there, you have the colleagues who are especially engaged in end-of-life studies, which is one of the programs I'll be talking about. Experts in public health, social anthropology, who have been looking at end-of-life issues across a range of different research topics. And then a number of colleagues who conduct research and teaching around, issues to do with sustainability in coastal zones. So, a large number of colleagues who are doing research in these areas and contributing to teaching in our school across, again, a wide range of disciplines. University of Glasgow obviously is a research intensive university, one of the top 100 universities in the world, and is well known for its world-changing research. Within our school, we have 4 particular research strengths. So we have the Glasgow End-of-Life Studies Group, which is an internationally renowned research team in that area. It's a topic that I also contribute to my own research. We also have specific research clusters around environmental science and sustainability within the education subject area, and also another subject area where there are kind of crossovers with sustainability in terms of tourism. I'll focus in on the Glasgow End-of-Life Studies group because it's one I know well and obviously relevant to our End-of-Life Studies Masters. So this is, as I say, internationally renowned group of researchers conducting cutting-edge research across, I guess, a range of social dimensions of death and dying, but also that intersection between the social and clinical. So we have, in terms of recent research projects, Dying in the Margins, which is looking at people's experiences of dying at home in a context of financial hardship and deprivation in the UK. And that project has had, significant impact on policy and, has, been debated, for example, in the Scottish Parliament. That's just with the cost of living crisis that we've all lived through. That's a really interesting and important line of work. Also, as regards assisted dying, which globally is increasingly on policy agendas. We have real expertise in our team on this particular topic, and indeed one of the lead lecturers for the End-of-Life Studies programme, Dr. Richards, Naomi Richards, recently gave evidence to the Public Bill Committee at Westminster on the assisted dying bill, which is going through the Westminster Parliament. So our researchers, our colleagues are really engaged in policy and making a difference and making an impact. In terms just of, I guess, of the broad structure of the subject area, sustainable development at our school, we have an undergraduate degree, Global Sustainable Development, and then 2 postgraduate degrees, the MSc Sustainable Integrated Coastal Zone Management, and then an MSc in End-of-Life Studies. Thereafter, students can go on to do PhD research as well. I'm going to be focusing in on those 2 postgraduate top programs. So firstly, the MSc Sustainable Integrated Coastal Zone Management. This program addresses complex problems resulting from the competing and often conflicting uses of coastal resources and coastal environments. So the focus is on gaining a deep understanding of these issues and developing sustainable solutions, and particularly through a focus on community engagement and practical experience. So the courses, and you see the list of the courses there on the slide, combine the social and natural sciences and provide essential subject knowledge and skills in, for example, coastal policy analysis, economic, social, and environmental risk assessments, marine ecology, and research methods required to design coastal plans. So yeah, definitely combining policy, empirical research, and practice. So in terms of the careers, the career paths from this degree, a number of really interesting lines of work. So coastal and marine policy advisors, environmental impact assessments, environmental consultants. There's an element of gaining skills in GIS, so geographical information systems and geospatial analysis, which would equip you for careers in those areas, and also going on to doctoral research. I should say that this is a new degree. The first cohort of students will be joining us in September 2025. So yeah, very excited about this new program that we're offering. The second program is the MSc End-of-Life Studies. This is a more established program that we have. It's also important to note this is an online distance learning program, whereas the Sustainable Integrated Coastal Zone Management program is an in-person program. What's interesting and perhaps unique about this MSc End-of-Life Studies is that you have different start date opportunities, so you're not confined to a September start. You could start also with us in January, April in any given academic year. There's also flexibility in how you structure your studies. So you could do the full MSc, or you could choose to do the postgraduate diploma or a postgraduate certificate. Yeah, so there's different combinations in the way you can structure your study with us. You see there the different courses, and again, with this program, we're combining interdisciplinary perspectives. So we're taking perspectives from the social sciences, the humanities, and clinical disciplines such as public health to critically examine new theories, empirical studies, and innovative research methods in that end-of-life field. The program offers students a wide-ranging and critical perspective on the social dimensions of end-of-life care, and especially the policy debates that surround it. So, people are living longer and longer, and longevity is shaping new patterns of aging and dying. But what I would say, though, that is access to good quality end-of-life care varies enormously around the world, and so the program shines a light on those inequalities, and also it shines a light on the many contested issues concerning how, when, and where we die. The curriculum is global, and so are our students. So we have students on this program from many different parts of the world. I guess the online distance learning facilitates that to an extent, but the curriculum is also interdisciplinary, and our students are also interdisciplinary. So we have students coming from a wide range of backgrounds taking this degree. So often students who have a professional background already in the the bereavement profession, so funeral celebrants, undertakers, those involved in bereavement support, people involved in social work, end-of-life doulas, chaplains in spiritual care. But we also have students who join us from nursing, from joining us from a career in medical practice, but also, for example, documentary filmmakers. So, it's really a wide range of students who join us on this program, and that enriches the program enormously, I would say. Okay, so I mentioned briefly already the fact that we have the wonderful natural resources on our doorstep, which make for a living laboratory that we can use for our teaching. So especially in the Sustainable Integrated Coastal Zone Management Program, you'll have those opportunities to engage in fieldwork and field trips in our region. It is a region with an awful lot of coastline, which is an advantage for a program like this. Also, the expertise and the connections of our lecturers with policymakers globally means that you'll benefit from guest lecturers who will come and give real world insights into how either coastal zone management issues or end of life issues are discussed and debated and play out in practice in their own respective fields. So again, that is a real richness of the program. I'm more or less wrapping up here, but we've got some QR codes that you can capture where you can get to know our students better and to learn about some of our students' stories and pathways through the degree. We also have employability stories, and you're able to explore various career options from these 2 degrees, bespoke careers, advice, and potential career pathways following on from the 2 degrees that I've talked about today. So yeah, make sure you capture those QR codes, and that's really more or less it from me. So thank you very much, and yeah, I think we've got some time for questions maybe later on that I can join you.
Yes, absolutely. Alistair, thank you so much. Amazing information about such a rich and diverse subject area there. So thank you so much. We have lots of questions to get through. So first I'm going to introduce our next guest. I am delighted to welcome Ieuan to the session today. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
No worries.
So Ieuan is a current student with us here at the Dumfries Campus and the School of Social and Environmental Sustainability. And Ieuan, I wonder if you could very briefly just introduce yourself a little bit, tell us a little bit about what you're studying right now, what year you're in, and your first impressions of the campus so far.
Yeah, so this is my first year. We're just about a month and a bit into my second semester here. I'm studying the undergraduate program that fits under the heading of sustainable development. So it's called Global Sustainable Development. Yeah, what was the last bit? My first impression.
Yeah.
I actually had an opportunity the summer before I came here to come and just have a look around with my family and have a little tour. And I loved how the building, it's quite an old building. There's a rich history and heritage to this campus that I learned about in our welcome week. And just the sort of tight knitness of it, that you can feel like you know the place and you're sort of you're connected to the space. That was my first impression, that it wouldn't be overwhelming, that I'd enjoy getting to sort of make it my study home.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. No, thank you so much. And you bring up a great point as well, actually, which is that we do offer an opportunity for applicants, offer holders, anyone interested to come and visit our campus. You can book a time online, you can get in touch with us and arrange a bespoke time. It's no problem at all. We're always here to welcome our students. So that's a great point to bring up, actually. Thank you so much. I'm going to welcome Alistair back onto the stage because we have a lot of questions to get through. And so I'm conscious I want to get into these and get some answers to all of our viewers right now. So we'll start with our first question here. Now, yeah, I think this is definitely for you. How did you find the move to Dumfries? So I suppose, could you tell us a little bit about your kind of previous experience? I suppose this is your first time in Dumfries, if I'm right in thinking.
Yeah, apart from that, literally like a day where I came and visited with my family. This was my first time coming here, first time living in Scotland, and so I came up on the train with my bike, but thankfully my parents were able to bring some extra stuff in the car because they were dropping my brother off in a different part of Scotland, and they helped me, get settled in that first day, and then it was my first time living alone, but I'm grateful that I quickly was able to sort of the connection between where I'm staying right next to the campus and the school here has made it really smoother for me staying here, and there's sorry, I don't know whether you want me to keep going. I'd say, and this is a point I sort of alluded to, the size of Dumfries helped me in my transition because it wasn't overwhelming. So finding the shops, getting around, it's nice. The tone of the place, there's the waterfront along the river, and our campus has got a nice green spaces to walk around, and that really helped me in the transition.
Yeah, oh no, that's great to hear. And I mean, the vast majority of our postgraduate students and indeed students on our campus are international students, and more often than not living in Scotland or the UK for the very first time. So I'm sure it'll be really, really reassuring to hear that, coming to Dumfries is not this big, overwhelming, big city you have to deal with, but actually more of a community that's ready to welcome you in and kind of ease you in gently to university life. So that's fantastic to hear. Thank you so much for sharing. That's brilliant. We have a next question here, which is somewhat related, actually. I'll let you both come in on this one as well. But yeah, maybe start with you first. And what is the student community like at the University of Glasgow? So on our campus or in our school, have you found that sense of community? And can you kind of explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah, so the question, I guess, I can answer to the student community at our school here. So there is, although there are links to the larger institution of the University of Glasgow, there is very much a sense that we're sort of our own little community here. And obviously it's a train or bus journey to get to Glasgow. I know like the names of everyone in all my classes. I'm happen to be staying in the halls, so I also know them some from that. And like we walking up to the gym on campus together. I even know just from the welcome week, like and various other things, like people on the postgrad courses, even though I'm undergrad. My flatmates are postgrads. There's a lot of sort of, oh, you know them, I know them, and it means that when you see people in class, like there's pre-existing relationships. It's not that you're going and sitting down in a lecture and sort of don't know the people around you, and that I find relaxes the space, and it also allows you to strike up conversations because you know them.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's fantastic. And Alistair, from your perspective, as staff, as a lecturer, how important is that sense of community from your perspective?
Yeah, no, very important, and I think it allows us to make a strong connection with our students, and and that's beneficial from a teaching perspective as well. We quickly get to know our students' names, and so you're not just a number to us. Not at all. The complete opposite, actually. And I think it makes it easier, like I said already, to ask questions in class when you're more comfortable, both with the teaching staff, but also those peers. And what we find often, because we have these smaller class sizes, that often the stronger students bring up the students who are maybe not so confident, and that's a really nice thing to see when you have that kind of peer learning going on. So, I think, from a teaching perspective, this close-knit community really helps also in the academic learning, not just the social side.
Yeah.
I'd say it's also key in group work, because it's not working with someone you've never spoken to before or whatever. Like the pre-existing relationships are a good foundation for working together academically.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. We have another question here. Oh, fantastic question. Okay. How is the sense of community extended to online learning on the end of life studies degree? That is a wonderful question. If it's okay, guys, I'd like to kick this one off, if that's okay.
All right. Yeah, please do.
So I think it's really important to mention, we mentioned the end of life studies degree, how it's wholly online. And I think it's really important to note that it was designed to be wholly online. It was a purpose built to be an online program. It wasn't something that was made and then shifted. So I believe anyway that sense of community was really kind of embedded from the start and understood from the start, that to have an online community of learners, you need to be able to foster some sense of community in there. I know from talking with some students that they've kind of set up their own, aside from the seminars and lectures that they have anyway, they've set up their own kind of student-led seminars as well. Alistair, I don't know if you can talk to that a little bit more as well, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So there is kind of dedicated time in the timetable for that more, I guess, informal discussion among students. So kind of online discussion forums, but also kind of the actual dedicated time to speak face to face across all the different video platforms that we can use. And I know that's been very successful to the extent that former students are still in touch with others in the program. We actually invite former students to speak to current students, and we engage former students in the end of life studies research group. So in a sense, even though you're perhaps only on the program for 12 to 18 months, depending on how you structure your study, you have that ongoing connection, which we really encourage our students to have with us.
100%, absolutely. And we also have these really nice kind of events that, again, the students kind of lead themselves, where we've had actually groups of students from across the world come to visit the campus together and come and explore Scotland together. And, we've put on events for them and talks and all this kind of stuff. But that was, purely led by these groups of students on this program who wanted to explore a little bit more. And I think one of my favorite things the past year was seeing our end of life studies graduates on graduation day, and a lot of them meeting in person for the first time. But seeing that, you would have thought they were old friends from years and years ago. And it was just such a lovely day to experience that, all of these students coming together. So that's a really, really great question. Thank you so much. And we'll move on to our next one here, which is, what advice would you give to prospective students applying to the University of Glasgow? Alistair, I'm going to come to you first for this one.
Thank you. I guess what we want is for you to do the program that's right for you. So that's, that could be anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be with the University of Glasgow. I think it's really important that you explore the different options which are available for you, and to become really familiar with the different programs, and compare different programs in the subject area that you're interested in. Certainly for the programs that we offer, we provide a lot of information. So there's information about careers and employability. There's contact details for the program directors, so that you can get in touch with them directly if you have any questions. So make sure that you reach out to them and draw on their expertise. It's there's a wealth of information out there, and it's really about asking yourself, is this program going to get me to where I want to be? And sometimes you first of all need to know where it is that you want to be. But and then once you've kind of figure that out, go and see what's out there for you. But yeah, definitely make sure that you really do your research.
Oh no, fantastic advice, absolutely. And Ieuan, anything from a student's perspective that you'd like to add there?
I mean, I would just reinforce one of those points. I found it really helpful having knowing what the core modules would be, the core courses for my degree, and looking ahead and seeing, oh, that one sounds fun. Like, this is the stuff that I'm interested in. I didn't even, you mentioned, Alistair, not people knowing what you want to be or what you want to be doing, that being key. I didn't 100% know, but looking at what the courses were, I'm like, oh, actually, that is what I want. And so there is that information. So looking into it and those details, they can really sort of spark whether this is the right match for you.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful advice. Thank you both so much. And we'll go on to our next question here. So, do we address wicked problems within this subject area? Wonderful question. I wonder, Alistair, can you start us off with what is a wicked problem?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So wicked problems are problems with many interdependent factors, which make them seem very difficult or even impossible to solve. And I guess because these factors are incomplete, or knowledge about them is incomplete or in flux and difficult to define, solving these wicked problems requires a really deep understanding of the different stakeholders involved and an innovative approach to I guess design thinking. And that's why we prioritize across our degrees what is known as a whole systems theoretical approach in our learning and teaching. And also, and I guess that's about mapping all the different stakeholders and considering all the different perspectives and points of view, and I guess also some of the trade-offs between, at least for example in sustainable development, between the economic, the environmental, and the social aspects of sustainability. We also really prioritize an interdisciplinary perspective. So that's drawing on multiple concepts and theories from different disciplinary traditions. And we feel that's also helpful when it comes to your future careers. Because even if you, for example, identify as a policy analyst or as an environmental impact assessment kind of specialist, you're still going to have to interact. If you want to solve these problems, you're going to have to interact with people coming from very different disciplinary backgrounds, different specialisms, and you're going to have to be able to talk the talk a little bit if you're wanting to be able to understand where they're coming from. So that's why we prioritize your different disciplinary perspectives. We're not just kind of, I guess, instructing students in a particular disciplinary tradition, but we're kind of opening their eyes to many different ways of seeing a problem and different solutions.
Well, that's fantastic. And I know your first year. I don't want to put you on the spot here, but have you had much kind of input in this
week? We had a week on wicked problems in my fifth semester in Nwamaka Okeke Ogbofor. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She's is it the lead on the masters in coastal zone marine management?
Yes.
She is, yes.
Forget what the title is, but I got to have her last semester, and she definitely was always talking about systems thinking, being intentional about not teaching us sort of prescribed solutions, because there's always these trade-offs, these interconnected aspects, and the challenges to try and think in new ways to solve problems, and the way that the things connect, like it sometimes really surprises you the like how you should be thinking about health outcomes when you're building city infrastructure. Like you don't always think they go together, and then you realize they totally do, and it's like, wow.
Oh no, that's fantastic. I'm so glad that's been your experience so far, and amazing. Thank you both so much for your answer here. Another question here. This one's for you, Ieuan, for sure. What has been your favorite part of your program so far, and why?
So part of my program, yes. So I guess there's been a number of things I've enjoyed about moving to Dumfries, but on the academic side, it seems this question's more about. Probably I'd have to say maybe two things. One would be that when I have reading to do, it's really interesting, because sometimes if there's a lot of reading and you're like, I've got a lot of work to do, but then when you're doing it, you're realizing, wow, this is really interesting. that sounds a little, I don't know. I hope that's the case for other people. But the second thing I'd say, which sort of fits in with that, is the fact that we have that ability to sort of speak on closer terms with our lecturers can be quite inspiring. Like, I found out last week that one of my lecturers is a chief editor of a journal, and I looked up online, and yes, it says chief editor on this journal. Or like, just talking, they often talk about their own experiences in like their research. And last semester I was doing a project, and we had to obviously do research for that. And then I was looking up in Google Scholar, and my lecturer's name came up under a journal article exactly related to what I need to study. And for me, that's quite exciting to like have that connection between the lecturers and what we're studying.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. That's so great to hear. We've got time for just one more question, I think. Great question. Okay, how integrated are the Sustainable Development Goals to our teaching? So those of you watching, you'll have seen throughout most of our materials online, we've got the Sustainable Development Goals kind of plastered everywhere, all over our materials, everything to do with our programs and our teaching. It's really important to us. But Alistair, I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about this.
Yes, certainly they are. They are a feature of the teaching. I guess it's important that the Sustainable Development Goals are not. They're not going to be around forever. Something's going to replace them. So our teaching is not kind of, let's say, married to the Sustainable Development Goals, just because we're conscious that things evolve over time. But they do provide a really useful framework for how we structure our teaching. And in some of the courses across the different programs, I guess that kind of connection is really quite front and center, and others maybe less so. It's a very useful framework to think with, and I think particularly with that kind of systems thinking, the fact that you have the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and the way that they interlink. For example, you gave that example of health, Ieuan. I think health crisscrosses across, it cuts across so many of the Sustainable Development Goals. You could say the same about reducing poverty, for example, reducing inequalities. So definitely the strong focus on inequalities and across all those different aspects. I think that's really important. That we're able to find solutions so that in sustainable development we're not leaving people behind. That the solutions are equitable. And that can involve difficult trade-offs. Definitely a very helpful framework to think with.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. And I mean, that's all we have time for today. Thank you both so much for your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you both about all things sustainable development here at the School of Social and Environmental Sustainability. And I hope everyone watching has found this really useful. If you have any questions for us, please do just get in touch. You can find our details at glasgow.ac.uk/Dumfries. Please do just reach out. We are more than happy to answer your questions. And we very much hope to see you on campus in the near future. But for now, I'll say thank you once again, Alistair and Ieuan. Thank you so much. And I'll say bye for now and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.